Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a lovely day. Thank you for joining me here today. All Aspen University students are required to abide by Aspen University's academic integrity policy as outlined in the university catalog. The academic integrity policy is built upon the concepts of honesty, truth, fairness, respect, and responsibility. By taking this exam, I agree to abide by both the academic integrity policy and the rules outlined on this exam. With this recording, I'm attesting that I have personally completed the comprehensive exam and that the information I submit is true and accurate to the best of my knowledge. Also, to verify my identity, this is with my personal information covered. This is my license with my name. My name is Rana Marcela Osanch. Today we will be talking about an action research project exploring the multicultural workplace and looking into whether or not an onboarding program would be beneficial to individuals in leadership positions who learn English as a foreign language and move to the States from abroad to work here. The aim of this program would be to ensure an inclusive environment that provides psychological safety and a sense of belonging while supporting these individuals during their cultural adaptation period. As you may agree, society is more interconnected and globalized than ever before in our modern era. Although globalization has been discussed for years, few could have anticipated its profound impact on daily life. What was once a prediction is now a reality. The world has become a vast marketplace, with borders less restrictive and distant niches more accessible, sometimes just a smartphone tap away. As a result, globalization's significance has only grown. For organizations aiming for success, adapting to change, evolving with the times, and staying in sync with customer expectations and market trends are essential. This rapidly evolving landscape requires companies to stay updated, conduct in depth market analysis, and prioritize innovation. Progress and technological advancements create ripple effects that impact all stakeholders. Furthermore, today's workplaces are increasingly diverse, making multicultural collaboration the norm. However, this multiculturalism also brings challenges, such as navigating cultural differences and overcoming language barriers among team members. This study explores the adjustment experiences of individuals in leadership roles across various U.S. industries who speak English as a foreign language. In our increasingly interconnected and globalized society, the effects of globalization have surpassed earlier expectations. The research question investigated in this study is: how do individuals in leadership roles across various U.S. industries who speak English as a foreign language experience and navigate adjustment challenges in a globalized professional environment? As stated earlier, in contemporary times, the world functions as an expansive marketplace where national borders hold less weight and distant places can be reached with a simple tap on a smartphone. This heightened global integration makes adaptability more essential than ever. For organizations to thrive, they must continuously evolve, respond to changing consumer demands, and keep pace with market developments. Success in this fast-moving environment depends on staying informed, conducting thorough market research, and fostering innovation. These changes influence all stakeholders, and the modern workplace, marked by growing diversity, presents both opportunities and challenges. Cultural differences and language barriers are common and must be managed for effective collaboration. Investigating the cultural and linguistic difficulties these leaders face and collaborating with them to develop and test coping strategies could provide valuable insights into the sustainability of such approaches. The problem is that individuals who have learned English as a foreign language and were raised in another culture often face a period of adjustment when stepping into leadership roles within US-based organizations, primarily due to the cultural and linguistic challenges. This study explores whether there is a practical way, such as a tailored training or an onboarding program, to support and ease that transition. The intention is to develop this onboarding program collaboratively with the participants, considering their real needs and experiences. Rather than delivering a traditional lecture-style workshop, the goal is to create something meaningful and relevant, designed by and for those directly affected. Workplace trainings and seminars often feel like formalities, sometimes disconnected from actual needs, especially as busy schedules and ongoing struggle for work life balance intensified after the post pandemic period. Ensuring that professional development efforts are worthwhile is even more critical. The short term goal is to design an initial program based on what each participant brings to the table. The design would look into everything from culture to life needs in the US, such as renting or buying housing, opening a bank account, since the US differs a lot from some other countries in this sense, where to do basic grocery shopping, work conditions, organizational cultures, even how to learn the necessary abbreviations that are part of the American organizational culture. It has to be noted that the organizational culture will differ from organization to organization. Hence, the aim is not to try and teach one organizational culture, but to learn how to identify the trends, which could be a more general design implemented in several organizations. Each participant or group will add strategies to the project to try out and implement as a general and overall design is worked on collectively. In today's globalized world, organizations face a dynamic environment shaped by rapid technological advancements, evolving market trends, and increasing workplace diversity. Success now depends on the ability to adapt, innovate, and engage effectively across cultural lines. This has elevated the importance of inclusive leadership and cross cultural competence. Traditionally, leadership theories often promoted uniformity and overlooked the value of diversity. However, modern scholarship recognizes that leadership is socially constructed and context dependent, shaped by cultural identities and lived experiences. Researchers emphasize that inclusive leadership must go beyond surface level representation to foster environments where all individuals feel valued and heard. This includes addressing language barriers, cultural nuances, and unequal access to leadership opportunities. Diversity refers to the range of differences among individuals, including race, gender, age, and background, while multiculturalism encourages the coexistence and respect for distinct cultural identities. Together, they inform diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, which are increasingly central to organizational development. Yet, inclusion remains a challenge, often fragmented across dimensions like race or gender, rather than being viewed holistically. Effective leadership in this context demands cultural awareness and the capacity to lead diverse teams with equity and sensitivity. Cultural worldviews, such as beliefs about time, relationships, or human nature, shape how individuals interact, and leaders must be mindful of these dimensions. Importantly, fostering inclusivity means avoiding assumptions and ensuring policies support equitable participation rather than enforcing a one size fits all model. A practical strategy for enhancing inclusion is the development of onboarding programs tailored to international employees. These programs can help leaders build cultural competence while offering targeted support that reflects diverse needs and expectations. Ultimately, inclusive leadership is not only ethical, but essential for navigating the complexities of today's multicultural workplaces. This study adopts an action research approach, a participatory and evolving methodology that contrasts with traditional detached research models. AR actively involves participants throughout the research process, allowing their insights to shape the investigation dynamically. The project aims to design and implement an onboarding program for international employees who are English language learners, addressing cultural and linguistic challenges in American workplaces. The key stakeholders are organization leaders and newly hired international staff. AR is grounded in the Look, Think, Act framework, emphasizing relationship building, continuous feedback, and real world application. Researchers become collaborators rather than observers, building trust within the community and facilitating mutual problem solving. Initial challenges include gaining access and establishing credibility, particularly when participants have already adapted to their environments without support. Culture is viewed as dynamic, requiring time, commitment, and innovation to evolve. Understanding cultural differences is crucial, particularly as employees may experience cultural shock upon relocation. Emotional intelligence is highlighted as vital for leadership, enabling leaders to support employees effectively throughout stress and adjustment. The methodology centers on qualitative data collection via surveys with 10 to 30 participants, forming a suitable sample size for meaningful insight. The study focuses on the US East Coast, though findings may inform broader applications. The onboarding program will be co-developed based on participant input and piloted within organizations. Feedback from this implementation will determine its effectiveness and potential revisions. AR is hermeneutic, emphasizing interpretation and construction of knowledge. It values transparency, inclusive communication, and responsiveness to participant needs. Regular informal communication helps reduce resistance and fosters honest engagement. Ultimately, the study seeks to produce a sustainable onboarding model that enhances inclusivity, supports diverse employees, and informs leadership practices in multicultural environments. The participants were given a survey consisting of 8 questions to determine some of the common problems in the workplace. Once these problems were discussed, the participants were asked whether they thought it would be beneficial to design an onboarding program for new employees experiencing the cultural adaptation period. All participants agreed and answered that such a program would have been helpful when they had initially encountered these problems. Participants reported working in highly diverse environments with individuals from various cultural and linguistic backgrounds. Despite many colleagues being long-term U.S. residents or naturalized citizens, linguistic barriers frequently posed communication challenges, particularly differences in accents and regional vocabulary. These difficulties were more pronounced among those who speak English as a foreign language, especially during business travel to different U.S. regions. Understanding organizational jargon, idioms, and informal expressions presented additional challenges. While participants expected technical jargon, idiomatic expressions rooted in American cultural experiences often led to confusion. Some participants addressed this by taking notes or conducting independent research to improve cultural understanding over time. Participants also described significant cultural differences in communication styles between their native cultures and American workplace norms. They reported that existing organizational training programs were generic and did not address the specific needs of non-native English speakers or culturally diverse employees. Most workplace resources focused on compliance topics such as harassment or cybersecurity without referencing intercultural communication or inclusion. Participants highlighted the need for ongoing self-directed learning to navigate cultural and linguistic differences. While some interpersonal curiosity about different cultures existed among team members, participants noted a lack of deeper engagement or institutional support. Stereotypes, biases, and assumptions were frequently encountered. Participants emphasized the importance of advocating for their own needs. They concluded that fostering inclusion and innovation should be a shared responsibility across all levels of the organization, not solely the leadership role. In an era defined by globalization and technological advancement, workplaces are increasingly multicultural and interconnected. As organizations expand across borders and engage with a global workforce, the need for adaptability, innovation, and cultural competence has become more urgent. What was once envisioned as the future of work has become the norm. Diverse teams, virtual collaboration, and cross-cultural communication are everyday realities in modern professional environments. While this shift has opened new opportunities, it has also introduced complex language, cultural understanding, and challenges in communication dynamics. Findings from the study revealed that individuals in leadership roles who speak English as a foreign language face ongoing linguistic and cultural barriers even after years of professional experience in the United States. Participants described frequent misunderstandings caused by accent differences, idiomatic expressions, and unfamiliar cultural references, especially in informal or unscripted workplace interactions. Organizational jargon and regional dialects also contributed to communication difficulties. Although general training resources were available, They were not tailored to linguistically and culturally diverse professionals' unique needs. Furthermore, participants expressed that cultural adaptation often falls on the individual, with little institutional support beyond compliance based training. Despite a growing awareness of diversity and inclusion, meaningful engagement with cultural differences remains limited. Participants emphasized the importance of self directed learning, proactive communication, and advocating for one's needs in navigating this landscape. They also stressed that inclusion and innovation should not be viewed solely as top down initiatives from leadership, but as shared responsibilities across all levels of the organization. This study explored how to develop an AR project to address ongoing challenges and co create practical solutions, such as a culturally informed onboarding program. Such initiatives would ease the transition for new employees and foster a more inclusive and supportive organizational culture, one better equipped to thrive in a globalized world. This study focused primarily on identifying initial problems and discussing the necessity of an onboarding program. Further research is welcomed, as running the program at least once is necessary to determine whether it is sustainable and durable. Future data will show if alterations are needed based on participant feedback. AR is particularly effective for uncovering practical community based solutions to real life problems. Unlike linear research models, AR is complex and requires considerable time, adaptability, and persistence. Researchers must take a strategic and engaged approach, remaining open to changes. Rather than observing from the outside, AR emphasizes the importance of the researcher becoming an active participant within the setting. This shift from outsider to insider fosters deeper insights and stronger relationships. By involving those directly impacted, AR helps close the gap between theoretical concepts and practical application, leading to more relevant and actionable outcomes. And that concludes my presentation for today. I know everyone has a busy schedule, so thank you very much for taking the time to listen to my research. I truly appreciate it. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me at any time. Also, I would welcome any comments, feedback, or further discussion. Please let me know your thoughts either by contacting me directly or posting in the comments section. Once again, thank you for being here and have an amazing rest of the day.